You know,
Mom is in the kitchen cooking stovetop.
You know what I got shit for this last week?
Oh, okay.
What?
Did he just ask what OC meant?
Oh, they brought that up.
Just because I wanted clarity specifically on what you meant by OC. I said, so what do you mean? I was like, so what's OC? He was like, out of control. I was like, okay.
They had a few things to say about that one. That was the one.
Could have been Orange
You know,
County.
it's one a week. Yeah, it could have been Orange County. Could have been.
Well, I mean, you said they were being
compulsive.
So that's kind of what I've always
Obsessive
first, and I know that's not what people typically mean when they say OC, but that's what my brain automatically goes to every time somebody says OC is obsessive compulsive.
Man, fam out here obsessive compulsive.
So when you said out of control, I'm thinking, well, that's oos. That's ook.
Well, you know,
I'm out of control. She's out of control. This whole damn party's out of. Y'all remember that episode on Martin?
Oh, when
Bob
he
from
was
Marketing.
Bob, yeah.
I thought it was a camp song.
Nah, it was when Bob from Marketing. Martin was trying to call Gina up to see what she was doing, and Bob from Marketing answered the phone. And then he popped up on her. She was out of town on a work trip. He thought she was cheating.
I used to watch Martin, but I never paid attention when Martin was on.
Kevin Hart made a good point on Drink Champs when he was talking about, you know, comedians and them really not getting their P's in terms of, you know, from acting and how hard it is to be a comedian. And he talked about Eddie Murphy playing multiple characters in the Clumps and how cold that was, which is true. But
I think he did get his props.
Kevin Hart was like, he didn't think he got the flowers, if we want to say it twice. He got his flowers.
You got to understand when he was doing it. So he did it in the late 90s.
Okay.
So when you think about the late 90s, I mean, you had up and coming and prominent black comedians that were solid. You know what I'm saying? He's one of them.
Yeah.
If you think about when Nutty Professor came out, it was a very good and high grossing movie for that time.
Oh, I'm sure they did numbers.
And there wasn't internet media to help propel it to another level. So I think he actually did very good.
He mentioned Martin too, though, because he talked about Martin went through how many characters was on Martin? You just named Bob.
Well, I think the Martin sitcom show definitely gets his piece.
Yeah.
But I saw the reunion finally, by the way, which was dope.
The thing is, when you talk about Eddie Murphy doing the Clump, see, we're so spoiled by the idea of CG and the fact that all those characters are Eddie. He had to film each and every one of those separately.
Yep.
And then they had to create a composite. And the thing is, that's all practical makeup that's done. That's not CG and like, okay, we'll fill in this. No, like he had to be and lose himself in those characters.
He had to sit in that chair.
When you watch, see, I mean, as much as I enjoy Martin, like I still see Martin.
Yeah, because he was purposely doing it. He would still have his mustache.
Yeah, you know, but when you see, you know, Eddie Murphy would get lost in those characters.
I agree.
To the point where you're like, you know, you're thinking they have their own mannerisms, they have their own speech cadences, and so Eddie would get so lost in those characters, and because sometimes when people are really talented, we really don't give them their proper respect when they do something that is extraordinary. And so, like, in a way, of course, that it made a lot of money, and you know, there's still a movie that people talk about today. But I don't think people, as far as the performance is concerned,
that's the part.
You know, the fact that, you know, between the whole Clump family and then playing Buddy Love, you know. And the reason he had to do that is because, you know, Eddie, his career was kind of like on the downturn at that point. You know,
what I think it was,
and so
that was
so
more
they,
him, because he did the same thing in Coming to America,
right? But
true,
but Eddie actually talked about it. I was like, look, they only gave me I only had a budget of so much for this movie, so in a way, I had to play all those characters.
Oh, he definitely flipped it.
You know, and I had to pay, you know, kind of say, okay, well, this is my vision, like, because sometimes like. He was at a point where he had made enough money to where he was like, okay, well, I'll put this into the movie, and as a producer, and we'll get it back. And he definitely got it back from that. But like,
there was 3 of them,
you know. But like when you see,
Nutty Professor 1, 2, and then the Clumps.
The Clumps, you're right.
Was the Clumps a separate movie?
I believe so.
I thought 2 was the Clumps.
Maybe it was.
I thought it was 2 of them. Am I tripping? Is it
maybe,
2?
It's just 2.
It was 2.
It's just 2.
Yeah, it's just 2.
I mean, the second one was.
It was called the Clumps. No,
it was called the Clumps.
But then, like,
second one he was with Janet Jackson.
Right.
The first one he was with Jada. Right?
Jada, yeah.
But then, like, I think about a movie.
First Entanglement.
Like,
don't do that.
He did a movie called Bowfinger with Steve Martin. where he plays two different characters, and like even though they both look like Eddie, like I am one of those people that will die on his heels. Like Eddie Murphy should have at least been nominated for an Oscar for Bowfinger.
Yeah.
Hey,
sounds crazy,
I
you know.
really enjoy Norbit, honestly.
I think Martin's characters should get just like Terry said with the mustache. I get that part, but you know when he goes to the Mr. Otis, you know what I'm saying, and then goes Otis, and then goes back to he does King Beef, you know what I'm saying, and then he does
King Beef was hilarious.
Yeah, and he does the mechanic that sings.
Yeah.
The Don't You Know No Good. Like there's a huge range there with Martin, even though you can still see him in a lot of those characters. But Martin snapped on that show.
I mean, he did the same thing with what was that, Big Mama?
Big Mama's House.
Big Mama's House.
And they
Yeah.
got two
wasn't
movies
as
out of
good.
that one.
It wasn't as good.
No,
as,
they got
Nutty
three.
Professor.
It was three?
There are three big. Like that's
I
yeah.
don't know about that third one. Then I'm asleep. I know Nia Long was in what the first two.
I think she was in
God
all of
bless
them.
Nia Long. God bless her.